Good evening.
Everywhere I go on this island, it seems to me I find degeneracy.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. See, it's a lot scarier when there's no motive, see.
We have a bargain.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
Do you feel the pain? Always fear. Pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
His entire work consists of violence, all the time. Obsessed with the issue of violence. Mayhem, gouging out of eyes, autopsies on the stage.
Come. It is time to keep your appointment.
Welcome back, everybody. It's episode 151 of Double Feature Horror Show. I hope you are doing well and you've enjoyed doing the homework for this week. It's a member request. I'm always delighted to do those. And you guys throw me some curveballs. Never forget that we did 1965's Bloody Pit of Horror as a member request. Rather unforgettable, to the point that I included a little clip of it in the special intro from last week, episode 150. I'm bereft now, though, guys. I mean, whew, we hit double milestones. We did the 150th stream, and we completed the big anthology arc. What's to do then? That's all the purpose in my life gone. I'm absolutely rudderless. What's to be done, Murgoot? What should I do?
I'm surprised you haven't figured out another arc. I mean, there's all kinds of things to do that I can think of. 80s slashers, more Lovecraft Part 3.
We never run out of Lovecraft.
Yeah, it's Southern hospitality, like Angel Heart and McKee and that kind of thing.
I do think there is a heck of a lot that we could look into in sort of the American South in horror. So that is tempting. I suppose, folks, expect a poll. Expect a poll with a choice. Remember we used to do that? I think we'll put a poll out there. We have got some good options. There is the terrible idea of the sort of stupid, sexy horror arc that we could do. Maybe the 5th time I've tried to get us to cover Knock Knock, slipping that into an arc, and everyone votes against it every time.
Oh, there's the other 80s schlock comedy horror like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Toxic Avenger.
You start throwing this out all to avoid Knock Knock. I'm getting a feeling people don't like that movie. Well, never mind. It's not just you pitching in. We do, of course, have our see, Adam Loves Horror approves of Knock Knock. It's not just me. There is one other person at least who likes it. And I've got a feeling a lot of the audience will enjoy at least one scene in it. But, you know, it's not just you I can consult, Murgoot. We have got our regular co-host. Chill out. What you yelling for? Lay back. It's all been done before. And if you could only let it be, you would see it's TCG.
Very nice. Very nice. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I was thinking if you want to sort of go completely off topic in terms of what to do next, I was thinking you could do a 3.5 hour video about unappealing types in the horror community, and then you can use the worst examples of that.
Bad faith, guilt by association.
Oh God! Yeah.
I don't know what I'd do for that. I mean, I don't know people very well. I mean, do you think I could just like make some stuff up?
To be fair, I was gonna say you don't have to know them at all, really.
Oh, nice. Oh, I mean, if I can just slander them for people they may know or people who they know who may be followed by someone they know, that could work. I
If you
could do
need
that.
tips, guys, I
Just
can
go
help
to
you.
Reddit r/YouTube drama. That's where every leftist I've seen seems to go for it.
Oh, look,
Nice.
guys, it's me.
Oh, nice.
Hey, I'm back
Is
on
he
here
back
again.
yet?
No, I've still got a
Are
couple
you
of
back?
weeks to
You're
go
still
yet.
in hiding?
I'm still in hiding. I've got a couple of weeks to go yet. I'm not even talking on Discord because they keep leaking that as well.
The
Oh,
way you do that, I keep expecting you to be like, no, that's ignorant. That's ignorant.
I guess.
Very
Shut up,
old
guys, that's
reference.
ignorant. Stop being ignorant, guys.
It comes off a bit that way, doesn't it? It comes off-
3/4 of the people he slandered did callback videos. I mean, Oompaville did one. Brandon Buckingham did one. Shoe on Heads, for once, was pretty good. I mean, she was in high form. I watched it, just watched a reaction to it, and actually I was laughing. Wendigoon was way too nice.
He was a very chill guy. Very
Yeah.
high road taking.
He inadvertently he inadvertently united the right.
And
No, you're not supposed to do that.
he united everybody who isn't left of Mao.
Basically.
You love a bit of unity. Hello, Mr. GB. Good to see you in chat, and also good to see you. So Patrick Batman, when you get back, enjoy this. And also, I'll take the moment to say hi to everyone on the rewatch. You guys are fabulous. I'm sorry I forget to say hi all the time, but this week I remembered. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got your homework done. If not, maybe we persuade you to check it out, but I don't know where the scoring is going to go on this one. This I'm torn. We'll tease it out as we discuss Bryan Bertino's The Dark and the Wicked from 2020. And, talking about old South Park callbacks, I could not help but hear Bryan Boitano. I just keep calling him Bryan Boitano the whole time. He's got an absolutely amazing photo, though. Check this guy out. Isn't that great? Isn't that a great director photo?
It's not bad at all.
Hello, Dr. Prepper. What do you think of this director photo for Bryan Bertino? Who I'm not going to mess up. Interesting chap, I think. Before we go into it, I'll just say very quickly, everyone's links are in the description, and I hear there may be some exciting rumblings of production. Little rumble of production, maybe. I won't confirm. Maybe my guess will if something's in the water. But you should subscribe anyway. Follow them on Twitter, and then you'll be first to hear of anything popping off. As for me own shilling, well, you know how it goes. We have super chats on here, but more importantly, we have memberships. Memberships give me a nice regular income, helps me justify buying random horror books from 1997 just to check out what the director of Ghost Stories said. Really good book, by the way, if you're interested. Bright Darkness by Jeremy Dyson. It's focused on only a few old movies, but really well done. I will be stealing many of his points. Yeah, that's much appreciated. And of course, if you join as a member either here or on Subscribestar, I can pay you back a little bit by giving you access to exclusive content or early content. If you're a member right now, you can enjoy the commentary for Drag Me to Hell that I did with Poe the Person. And I also like to reward members with dedicated streams for a film of their choice, which is what we're doing tonight. So there you go. Hopefully you will feel like pitching in if you fancy. And a massive thanks to everyone who already does. It blows me away sometimes. I really appreciate it. Now, with all that said, sadly, last episode, the 150th, we wanted to have a bit of fun and games. And we did Spooky Mastermind. But Murgoot was not around for it.
No.
He pulled a Lammy. He dodged it. Now, some say there were legitimate reasons, but Nevertheless, now that we have you back, Murgoot, I just wondered, did you fancy trying a round of Spooky Mastermind?
Sure, I'm pretty brain dead today, but let's go for it. See
Oh, mate.
what I can remember.
We were all brain dead last week with the exception of Horror Show.
Oh, no, I was also brain dead.
You got like
you know
three
what?
wrong. don't be like that.
Well, I felt a little bit like I think we maybe missed a thing or two on Lost Boys. There were some good comments on stuff where I think we'd missed it a bit, and I fully confess that I missed a lot in the first act because I wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah, I did see that comment from, was it Checker
222?
Yeah,
very good point.
I did say
justifiably.
For context, chat. I was laughing my ass off at the guy not being coherent enough to realise that he was drinking blood, even though he was told you're drinking blood. Only for him to later be like, "Hey, you know what? I was drinking blood, and you didn't tell me. Why didn't you tell me?" And it turns out he made a good point actually, because obviously prior to that, you get the bit with the worms and the old Chinese takeaway box and the
maggots, Michael.
The maggots as well.
Maggots.
Yeah. And so it's
Word
like,
is something a whore does for drinks.
He's making Michael doubt himself. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll buy that on this occasion. But it was still funny though on the initial watch, being like, hold on a minute, you were told.
Unintentionally funny, even if it had a justification. Going there. Also, RIP to anyone unable to chat if YouTube's filtering you. Dollface, your chat has got through now, but I'm sorry if it's taking you a bunch of times. You know how they be on here. But before we get into the film, there is one more thing I wanted to do. As an experiment, just trying this out, I'm announcing horror homework early because I am terrible at remembering to let people know. So for people who don't stick around for the end, horror homework, announcing it now. Next week, it's another member request, which I didn't need much persuading to do, to be honest with you. We're going to do The Mask of the Red Death, a little late Corman tribute. And of course, it's our boy Vincent Price. So we'll do a bit of Vincent Price history, and we'll do The Mask of the Red Death. There you go. 12
out of 12 burgers. There we go. If we're doing horror homework early, I'm going to get my scores in early.
Oh, very nice. Just even breaking the old Todd rule. Have you got your own Vincent Price rule?
I've got my Vincent Price rule now. So,
all right, fantastic. Okay, folks. Well, we'll quickly do some Spooky Mastermind, one round of it, and then we will get into reviewing The Dark and the Wicked. So, Murgoot, are you ready for your 90-second round?
Let's go.
All right. Oh, TCG, can you do the round timing for me? Because I've got the questions on another tab.
I can. 90 seconds it was, wasn't it?
90 seconds if you can, please.
Oh, let's do can I do a countdown on this? No. Right, bear with me. Oh, caught me on the fly here. Right, stop. No, not stopwatch timer. 90 seconds. Okay.
The tension.
Your 90 seconds, Murgoot, starts now.
Which 1991 Wes Craven horror did Jordan Peele buy the rights to remake?
I
think I asked that last week. Bugger.
Yeah. Pass.
Who is directing the 7th Scream movie?
It's not Craven. It's... God, I suck with directors' names. Pass.
Sorry about this one then. Which acclaimed director was first approached to direct The Shining before William Friedkin? Oh, balls. I screwed that question up. Sod it. It was meant to be The Exorcist. Never mind. Skip. You can have the point anyway because I'm an idiot. Where is Eli Roth's Hostel set?
Germany.
You know what? They do have a scene in Germany. I'll give it to you. The Babysitter Murders is the original title of which horror classic?
No, that's not it. Pass.
What is the next entry in Dario Argento's Three Mothers trilogy after Suspiria?
Yeah, I'm not doing well today. Pass.
Did
Time's
Leprechaun...
up.
Oh,
Started, so you finish?
I've started, so I'll finish. I'm going to ask 2 questions because I want to rig it. Lawrence Fishburne stars in which Nightmare on Elm Street movie?
Number 3, Dream Warriors.
Correct. And lastly, because I pulled up the image, who is this horror beefcake?
Name escapes me.
Oh, I'm glad it wasn't just me then.
All right. That was Josh Hartnett.
Right.
Josh Hartnett once again. But I used a different photo this time.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I like to mix it up. And I've just got to correct this. All right, so let's see. Oh, I can't believe I actually messed it up. Dear. Right, so question 1, which 1991 Wes Craven horror did Jordan Peele buy the rights to remake? That was The People Under the Stairs.
That's right.
Who is directing the 7th Screen movie? You were close. It was back to the original team. Obviously not Wes Craven, as he passed in 2015. But it is Kevin Williamson, the original director. Sorry, writer, is now directing. Which acclaimed director was first approached to direct, it should have said The Exorcist, and I wrote The Shining, because that director was Stanley Kubrick. Turned down The Exorcist and then was fuming that he didn't get an Oscar. Whereas Eli Roth's Hostel set, correct, there was a scene in Germany. I would have also accepted Slovakia. Babysitter Murders is the original title of Halloween.
Okay.
Next entry in Dario Argento's Three Mothers trilogy after Suspiria was Inferno. And you got the Lawrence Fishburne question right, and Josh Hartnett was forgotten, so I clearly need to push more Josh Hartnett on everyone. Let's see. Oh, Adam Loves Horror got the first one right. Enriab as well. Enriab also named Kubrick fantastically. Yeah, Dr. Prepper got the Nightmare on Elm Street one correct. Let's see. Oh, and a question from Mr. GB. Other than The Faculty and those dodgy Halloweens, what horrors has Hartnett been in? Well, Waifu is correct. 30 Days of Night is the one
Great
I'd
film,
have gone for.
Great film. Halloween H2O as well.
We like that one. We really like
do.
Halloween
Yeah,
H2O around
it's
here.
not a bad one. It's not a bad one at all. Speaking of Halloween, Murgoot, I'm going to give you a little bonus mastermind question. Excuse me. How do I word this? In the first Halloween, how was Michael Myers credited at the end?
Ooh.
What name was he given?
Have no clue.
It was The Shape.
The Shape.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Lovely bit of trivia.
Yes.
Excellent. Adam, more Josh Hartnett fans. Yes, Adam is correct. 3 seasons of Penny Dreadful. I wasn't sure about that one. It kind of held my
Werewolf,
interest.
right?
Sorry? Yeah, that's right.
Werewolf, right?
Yeah, that's the one. I wasn't sure about that one. It was sort of okay. And I suppose you could maybe add that latest season of Black Mirror, but
The only reason I watched the first season was for Eva Green, so
we are Eva Green appreciators around here. Was Timothy Dalton in it as well?
yes.
Yeah. I wonder if the rest of it was good. I as I say, I checked out after 1 season. But I wonder how it carried on.
I saw part of the second season, and that was since I didn't catch the second season from the beginning, I was pretty lost.
No, fair play, fair play. All right, well, I think the scoring, you have gone above Harrion. So that's good.
That wasn't odd. He got, what, 2, I think?
He did get 2, but
Yeah.
in fairness, he's not been on the juice, you know? He's not been coming on here getting topped up, and he wasn't here for... I think he mostly got hit with the anthology questions.
You'll get this one. He wasn't sat in the sauna getting steroids steamed into him.
Mm. Oh, I see.
Yeah, you see what I mean.
Everyone's back on. There's a fishy reference there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just finished season 2 of Buffy, chat, and oh, mate, it's so good.
It's so cozy.
It really is. I'll tell you what I do. I need to watch Angel though, because I think I watched like the first season of it, and I remember absolutely nothing of it. And I know there's quite a few crossover episodes, and I never really got into that. So I'm going through the Buffy seasons 1 through 7. I'm just on 3 now, and gonna crack on with Angel afterwards as well. So my TV is.
Gotta recommend you get to Angel. Once it's like season 4, maybe do 1 ep of Buffy, 1 ep of Angel,
Right.
and really enjoy the crossovers.
I was thinking of that. So what seasons would correlate with which crossover?
So 4 of Buffy
Yeah.
correlates with season 1 of Angel.
Right. Okay. Brilliant.
You
I'll
can
do
go
that.
very nerdy and look up lists because it doesn't always align 1 for 1.
Right.
So sometimes the crossover with Angel is a couple of weeks apart.
Okay.
But you can, I don't know, you can go too nerdy with that, to be honest. I
I
approve of friends rediscovering Buffy because it's so cozy.
Yeah.
We
it's
did
so good.
I did one of numerous rewatches for me and a first time consistent viewing with Waifu last year, and it was so cozy.
You know why we haven't done our own personal picks of Buffy episodes to watch to review on here? Is beyond me.
Ooh,
Because there are some dark episodes.
super dark. I guess I just want to say, watch the lot. You know.
Yeah, I know. But we would definitely invoke the wrath of Super Nanny if we were sat here going through 22 times 7.
Fair play.
It's been 20 years since I watched Buffy. My favorite is, I can't remember the episode name, but the one with the silent watchers.
Yes.
Oh, classic.
Oh my god.
Hush.
Yeah.
Hush.
We'd have to cover that one. There's also another one where, like, Buffy's in an asylum. She gets put in a mental asylum.
Yeah.
And like they make it out like her life has been just like a hallucination, like she's been thinking of what. But I love the way the episode ends. I won't give it away for people who haven't watched it, but mate, it is. It's
a lot of people didn't like that episode, but I absolutely love it. Yeah,
I love that one.
Same. It's controversial. It's like I saw people. I'll just say, like, one of my other favorite episodes is The Wish from season 3, where they do the Bizarro universe, where Buffy never came to Sunnydale. I absolutely loved that. I'm fully down for that sort of story.
I vaguely remember that one.
I see. I don't, and I'm on season 3, so I'm looking forward to getting to that bit.
I had Mr. GB down as a Lila appreciator.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All day. Cordelia all day. Although, mind you, saying that, like, I think I might have said it last week or the week before, but Buffy was like my second teen crush. Well, I say probably first teen crush, but like my first crush, second crush. My first being Amy Jo Johnson, aka the Pink Ranger from Power Rangers.
Oh, there's some deep.
I was a bit young. I was a bit younger then, so rather than being like, "What," I was just like, "She's so pretty."
Amy Jo Johnson, eh?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Myself, my first crush was Linda Carter as Wonder Woman. My second crush was Catherine Bach as Daisy Duke in Dukes of Hazzard.
Nice.
You know,
Showing our
she's
age.
kind of cozy. She's wholesome. Isn't that wholesome?
I wanted her and
Aw.
Tommy to live a happy life together.
She had a cameo in the 2019 Power Rangers movie, if I recall.
2015.
Oh, 2015 was
I
it?
think it was 2015. Yeah, she did. Both
That
her
makes
and
more sense.
Jason David Frank, aka Tommy. They both cameoed at the end. Do you know she's still very much involved with the Power Rangers though? That she does the comic books. Her and David Yost, who plays the Blue Ranger, he was in there. They did a movie last year as like a tribute to the Yellow Ranger who died back in '99.
Oh
Yeah, they did do a little thing for Tommy at the end, but by the time they'd finished shooting the film, he passed away. So, by the time he passed away, they'd already finished shooting the film. So there's no real sort of reference to Tommy's. Oh, I keep calling him Tommy. Jason David Frank's passing in the film. So they do like a special thing for both him and I don't know her name, but Trini.
Trini Trang, isn't it?
That's it.
I'm right. Yeah. Vaguely remembered, but
yeah. Which I thought was well wholesome. Do you know what? As I remember when I saw the original, because I saw the original film back in like '95 or whenever it came out, and I went with my mate from primary school at the time, first school, and then soon after we saw that, he moved away, and it was literally 20 years later when we found out the new film was coming out. I messaged him on Facebook and I was like, dude, shall we? And it was like 20 years later, we literally met up just so we can go watch Power Rangers again.
That's so wholesome.
And I haven't seen him since. So I need new Power Ranger films so I can go and see my mate again.
Just got out that finally finished Morphin Time and then you're like, well, see you, mate.
I know, right?
Yeah. And Adam loves horror. Christy Swanson was pretty fun in the original Buffy. Paul Rubens stole the movie, though.
Yeah. Gosh, I wonder how that would be for a watch. Oh, we can't goosebumps this. We can't do it. We got to move on, folks. We've got to move on. But I was just about to pull up like an evil Willow and be like, guys, compare and contrast. But yeah, I'm afraid
evil yet at the moment. I can't wait.
I'm not going to be able to persuade anyone to simp for Tara, am I?
No.
Niche interests.
Yeah.
Very wholesome. Anyway, we should move on. Must not. Although this does make me feel optimistic that we could do a sort of horror and the erotic arc, as maybe ill-advised as it is. I've got a feeling that might get a fair few votes from chat. See, I have opened the can of worms here. I'll note that Amber Benson played Tara, who, as well as turning up in Supernatural, is also making comics. But again, I must move away. So, folks, just shy of half an hour in, The Dark and the Wicked 2020 from a chap called Bryan Bertino. This was a Shudder original. Well, produced separately, hosted on Shudder. You know how it goes these days. Pretty successful model for them. I'm going to say you can find a few gems on there. If you were, hungry for a bit of Alison Hannigan still, you could see her in the, not groundbreaking, but still pretty good fun. You Might Be the Killer, which also reunites her with, I want to say, it's not, is it Tom Lenk? No, it's Fran Kranz, another Buffy and Angel alumnus. I'm still stuck on Whedon trivia. Gosh darn it, I've got to break out. So The Dark and the Wicked is, I think, best described as pretty low-key. It's rural set, filmed in Texas. There's kind of a joke that they really could have... This was a perfect COVID movie because there was no one else around. They really did have the space to themselves. Very, very small-scale shoot, very rural location, small number of characters, and just an intense focus. I think it's drawing on a lot of the things that he found successful when he made his debut feature the strangers, and that will interact with this film a fair amount. But we also see quite a few other horror influences in it. Some notable tributes to The Shining, Color Out of Space. And I think he was trying to draw a little bit on the, what is it we call it? Not folk horror. I think he was trying to draw on a little bit of those vibes, just in terms of how stripped back everything was. I definitely got sort of Hereditary vibes from this. It is a very bleak watch, but at the same time, I'm going to say pretty darn effective. Not a very complex film, not breaking much ground, but delivering some pretty grim scares. Does that sound fair to you guys?
Sounds very scared. Yeah, that sounds very reasonable. Yep.
Yeah, I saw. I mean, TCG, you sent me some extensive notes as you were going, and
Yeah.
I had to review them after I'd watched, and it was sort of, yeah, fair play. I did that journey. Yes, I did that journey too.
Yeah, I sent them like quite excitedly, not realizing that you hadn't actually watched it yet. And I was, oh my god! And so I just sent a barrage of like one-worded messages just to remove the list out of sight, because I was like, nope, can't see that, nope.
Yeah, I'm glad you did, because there's a fair few shocks in here that did hit me very well. I definitely get the feeling from this that this is Bertino now as a bit of a horror veteran. So if you don't know his production story, he was well, do you remember that episode of Supernatural where the Winchesters turn up on a film set?
Yes.
And
Yes.
brilliant episode. Like I think it's mid-season 2. They're having a great time.
It's much later.
Is it late season 2? They may have done it multiple times. I definitely saw it in season 2. But they're on the set for a horror film. I mean, it was a really good episode and worth it. So many in-jokes to the horror making process. But this guy basically started in the job that Dean did, where he was schlubbing it along, getting people coffee. He eventually
Production assistant.
That's the one. I think he ends up getting himself a job as like an assistant to a gaffer, just working his way in. And while he's doing that, he's writing. And one of the first things he manages to sell is his script for The Strangers. That was originally going to be directed by... Oh, sorry, I've forgotten the guy's name. He directed 1 Hour Photo, Mark Romanek, I think.
Okay.
I think it's Mark Romanek. I could be right. I think that's it. Anyway, it's a guy who directed 1 Hour Photo, if I'm wrong. And let's actually get that really nice poster they have for it up. There we go. I'll just apologise, folks, by the way. Shudder absolutely locked it down, and you can't get screen caps off Shudder anymore. So we only have a few images from this film.
Yeah, where I got it, it would have been intruded upon by Spanish subtitles.
There
Many
is
such cases.
I know there's a way to do it on, I think, Netflix through Firefox. I don't know if it works the same.
That used to work for me. I don't know if they've not clamped down on that there. So maybe I'll try Shudder via Firefox.
Because you can practically record films. It's like
I hear, or so.
Yeah, not that I would ever do something like that, because I completely endorse the legitimate sale and purchase of your media. In fact, I did watch this off. Is it Shudder on via Prime?
Yeah.
So I was a good boy, as I am every week, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you definitely didn't just sort of forget to close your free trial down, did you?
No. I paid for a month, didn't I?
I would recommend it. There's a few things you can binge on there, and I know. I'll be honest, guys. I don't hit up Shudder as much as I should. That's terrible, but I kind of like throwing the money because I love what they do with this. They buy very unusual films. They buy classics. They get you some weird stuff, and I kind of like that. So even if I don't use them as much as I should, I'm quite happy to throw them a $5 a month. And speaking of throwing a $5, hello, Mr. GB, sending $5 dues.
All that Buffy talking, I forgot he's got good old Anthony Head.
Oh yeah. For reminding me Evil Willow exists. I may be a tad distracted for the rest of the stream now. PH4 and for an unrelated reason, many such cases. It's it's kind of like she was cast as one thing and they realized, let's say, her potential, and then started writing for it. It's kind of like in Angel, they start finding any excuse to let David Boreanaz do non-broody stuff because he's a fun chap. But thank you very much, and I'm always happy to reinstate good memories, fond memories, Mr. GB. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're definitely doing sexy horror. It's those supers will be anyway. Where was I? So yeah, he starts in the industry nice and lowly, sells a script, the original director drops out, and he takes the opportunity to direct The Strangers. I do not believe that was well received at first, but that has now started to gain a bit of reputation. Even if it hasn't had the smoothest history, for some reason, it's gained that cult following, I'd say justifiably, and it's got this weird life. I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was a very, very late weird sequel called The Strangers Pray at Night, starring Angel alumna Christina Hendricks.
The one and only, yeah.
Let's get some Christina Hendricks up.
Yeah. Shame Harriet's not here.
Where have I got her? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so they did, I want to say some sort of 80s. That's so low res. Come on, folks. You can do better than that. Now, this is... I'm feeling very deprived here. We really should have... Maybe we get her in Firefly. I should not be Google image searching.
While you're doing that, GB, I think you're the first person to actually realise who this profile picture is. To be fair, I have noticed. I just haven't said. And then, yeah, with all this talk about Buffy, you just reminded me, like, you've actually got a legend for a profile pic. And it needs to be mentioned, and it needs to be acknowledged, and it needs to be respected.
Yeah. Fun fact about Anthony Head.
He has a head.
No, his older brother is Murray
have a head?
Head, who starred in the Broadway play Chess. He sang One Night in Bangkok, a big 80s hit.
Oh, okay. That
doesn't ring a bell.
No.
Yeah.
Adam's
Horror is aware of Mad Men. Nice. Sorry, I got so distracted by the Christina Hendricks image searching. Low quality anyway. Have a bit of saffron while I keep talking. So, yes.
What you need, sorry, hang on. I can do better than that picture. I'm sorry. What you need is a man's eye. So I will be back while you carry
on. All right, cool. No streamer attention can survive an onslaught by Hendricks. What can we say? So I noticed that there's been a revival of The Strangers. I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a Strangers trilogy now. You aware of that?
No, I'm not familiar with The Strangers at all.
Yeah, I am absolutely baffled by it. I mean, the thing is, Murgoot, it's such a stripped down film. The whole thing is, it's just a home invasion film. You know how there's a trend of making a whole 90-minute story out of what is usually just sort of a 10-minute segment.
Well, there were a slew of them in the 2000s, the home invasion movies.
Yeah. Strangers was 2008.
Right, check your Twitters. And no, I didn't know that there was I heard of a sequel to Strangers, but not the. I didn't know there was a trilogy. Is there like a season as well?
I don't know if there's a season, but yeah, the Strangers Prey at Night was 2018, which is why we have Christina Hendricks up there. And then there's The Strangers Chapter 1, Strangers Chapter 2, Strangers Chapter 3. And The Strangers Chapter 1 is actually coming out next week, the 17th of May, with Chapter 2 meant to come out in fall 2024 and 3 set for 2025. I am absolutely baffled by this. I don't see how they're managing to make a whole trilogy out of this. Maybe more interesting is the fact that they're all directed by Rennie Harlan. People may have split opinions on him. I don't want to say he's terrible. I thought he's sort of been...
His action films were a lot of fun. Too bad most of them tanked. But
yeah, I kind of respect his graft to get onto Nightmare on Elm Street 4, because he really just pursued that when there wasn't as much interest in it. Oh, that will do much better. I'm just going to move that up here. There we go. And we will have more Hendrix posting.
There you go.
There you go, chat. You can enjoy a bit more Hendrix while we keep chatting. Okay, so we've been told that it's already out in the US and can be streamed already.
Sorry, chat. Do you want to go bigger? We can go bigger on this.
Those are big enough.
Her eyes, right?
Yeah.
Big Irish eyes. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just sort of baffled by how that happened, and how you get a trilogy out of The Strangers. I'll be honest. I'm gonna try and I might give it a go. I'm curious. I'm very curious. And ever since that, Bertino, I think, has managed to stay in Hollywood. Like he got a couple of extras out, The Monster, Mockingbird, one of which was found footage. But this feels like a much more personal movie, and possibly he actually filmed it on his family homestead, which I think's quite TCG. That is absolutely indecent. I cannot. I don't know, chat. I think chat's going to have to decide this one. I don't know about this. This is a family-friendly stream.
All I'm going to say is, chat, make sure you're wearing goggles. You've got eye protectors on.
Oh boy.
You know, this film... this used to be a horror analysis stream, and now we're just full-on Christina Hendricks simping.
To be fair, we are analysing.
What's this from? Is this this from Drive? The Drive premiere?
Ooh, okay. No,
was it?
It looks like an award show on NBC.
Oh, so possibly during her Mad Men era.
Yeah.
She was pretty great in that. And we're all absolutely distracted by Christina.
You've got one image. I've got a whole Google page of them here.
Oh dear. Okay, we really will. We're gonna move the Hendrix away. We can't keep going with the Hendrix. Basically, where was I? Bertino, I think, is making a much more personal movie. My main reading of this is that it is dealing with quite sensitive, quite adult material, quite bleak fears at the moment. But waifu, come on.
Okay.
Dear.
No.
We must move on. Okay, I've got to.
Sorry, I know, but shall I end the Google search with milkers?
No.
Absolutely no.
Okay, I'm going to use it then.
Absolutely. All right, Murgoot, rescue us. Can we have...
Sorry.
I hope you've got her on a farm doing dairy work.
I can do better than that.
Disgraceful. All right.
God, I love
Murg-
the internet. Here you go.
Okay.
Murgoot, would you kindly rescue us?
God damn it.
That is not okay. I'm just going to get that up.
Oh.
Why would you even... Why would you even share that? That's just... There you go, chat. You're cured. You're cured, chat. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, good.
Okay.
Wrestling. Oh dear, we must never discuss Christina Hendricks again. Oh dear.
Spoiler-free Guinness pour.
All right, go for it. Go for it. Get us our 2-minute summary for The Dark and the Wicked. For anyone who has not done the homework but wants to follow what we're talking about roughly.
Grown children, Louise and Michael, return to their family farm where their father is dying. Their mother really doesn't want them to come, but they come anyway to see their father one last time. The mother's whispering about things. The nurse is concerned. And Charlie, the ranch hand for them, placates them, makes them aware of the situation. It's a goat farm in rural Texas. And weird visions and deaths ensue.
Yeah, pretty much.
Indeed.
It's a very efficient stream. Very efficient summary. But you've kind of touched on one of the things that I think makes me lean slightly away from the movie, makes me give it a slightly lower score. And that is the fact that things do just ensue. They are preyed upon by this, I assume, demonic force.
El Diablo.
Yeah. But they don't really have any agency in it. And so I was going to throw that out there to you. If you thought that was a weakness, bearing in mind that the exact same criticism can be made of The Evil Dead. Does that make sense, by the way? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, are you talking specifically like season 2 Walking Dead, where?
No, sorry, Evil Dead.
Oh, Evil Dead. I beg your pardon.
So it's a thing of like, if your horror film is about a weird fish monster in South Korea, sorry, I really like that film. The fish monster has to be in a certain place. And you can fire arrows at it and it responds to the arrows and it goes away for a while. But in the Evil Dead, there's just a kind of malevolent force that can mess with you and can just take you over. You can't really fight it off. I think that you can have... I've got mixed feelings about that as a source of horror.
Did you know what? I didn't mind it too much, but I did. I was just scrolling through my notes because I did. You reminded me of something I put in here, and I wrote down we're 40 minutes into a 1 hour 35-minute movie and it's Friday already. I thought they were only here for a week. Michael said he might leave as early as today. I hope that wasn't foreshadowing. When I wrote that, I got a little bit like, okay, because. If you haven't seen the film, you start from prologue. You get sort of like the mother's intro, and she's surrounded by like mannequins, and obviously the husband's ill. There's wolves howling in the distance, and she looks visibly disturbed by it, and it's setting you up to ask a lot of questions. There's the goats are acting funny, chairs moving, and the chairs moving as she's doing like the washing up or like cutting the vegetables, whatever it was she was doing at the time. And then
cutting the onions at first.
That's it, yeah. And then you get like a black screen Monday, and then stuff happens Tuesday. Stuff happens, so you're essentially guided through the week. Then about halfway into the film, you're already at the end of, you know, you're already at Friday, and I'm thinking like, okay, so they've only got 2 more days. Like a lot must happen in those 2 days. I mean, they pretty much sack off Tuesday. Really, Tuesday happens and goes.
There wasn't much on it, was it?
Yeah. Oh no, sorry, it was not Tuesday. Was I thinking Wednesday maybe? So I'm still going through it all.
That's okay. One of them I remember was extremely short and to the
Yeah,
point,
yeah,
which
yeah.
I kind of like.
No, Tuesday's quite a key day actually. I'm sure. Are we going through this in like chronological order in terms of the days? Because I can go through my notes and we can.
Yeah, we can go with that.
Let's go.
I thought there was something. So I'd got a little note here that I felt there's a bit of a Shining tribute. You know how The Shining breaks everything up with these stark chapters.
Yeah.
Although Kubrick messes with you. So when Kubrick tells you like the chapter is the interview, and then it's Tuesday, and then it's leaving day, you just sort of, and then instead of it'll be like Thursday followed by Monday. So the point of the Kubrick chapters is to confuse you and disorientate you.
Is that kind of like? Sorry to interrupt. Is that kind of like Pulp Fiction, like how things aren't chronologically set up in order? Is that what you mean? Or is it chronological? No,
it is chronological, but the idea is that the chapters should stop you having a sense of where you are, because the idea is to get you lost. It's a whole the hotel is a maze thing.
Gotcha.
So yeah, if you're like, okay, this chapter was Tuesday, and hang on, no, the next one is Monday. Wait, no, hang on, was I just at Tuesday? Yeah, what? The whole point is just to mess with you.
Yeah.
In this, you know, the chapters are delivered in a very similar style. You know, stark white text, black background, a bit of a stinger on the music, but they just go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and that in its own way also builds up the tension. You kind of get the feeling that, okay, right, everything's going to kick off on probably Sunday, which is, I mean, kind of what you're saying. You got through to Friday by 40 minutes, and then you've already got the expectation, well, everything's going to kick off, right?
Yeah.
So it did its job, didn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not to say like nothing happened up until that point, because as we'll go through, like things do happen, you know, quite important things for the film. But it was just kind of like, I was like, you've only got 2 days left. And do you know what? Do you know what as well? Like, you've got 48 hours in, you know, between those 2 days. And it does make you feel like you're running out of time. It made me feel like I didn't have enough time, or almost like it was going to fill up. There was going to be a lot of filler between those 2 days, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not realizing that actually they've got time. They've got time. You know, not every day has to be equal in film time, and they sort of show that, as I say, like through some of the days being shorter and other days being, you know, significantly longer. Oh my god, Henriette, do you know what? Right, I was tempted when writing my notes to emulate the Craig David song. Okay, Monday, yep, we've met a girl. Yep, it's an old farmer. Tuesday, yep, Michael and Becky are here. They're going to be presumably taking her out for dinner. I don't want to know what they do between Wednesday and Saturday. It's a bit Alabama.
And spine chilled on Sunday.
Yep.
Very niche. Very niche. We are, of course, the right age here to extremely appreciate a Craig David reference, especially if it comes packaged with another reference to his mate Kez.
Yeah, you know, Kez.
Yeah, I'm missing this David. Kind of out of my bailiwick. So.
It's all right, don't worry, I love. Kez will sort you out.
Oh dear.
Is
Christina Hendricks posting better than Bo Select?
I don't know. Put it up and me and Kez will have a look at it. Sorry, Ashley, I've got to go empty my piss bag. That's right, because he did, didn't he? They made him wear a catheter.
Oh, I was wondering how we were going to lighten up this movie.
God,
And
I forgot they- I
Just
forgot-
random Bo Selector memories. Just thinking of the glorious
Oh.
Elton John impression.
It's such a shame Craig David couldn't see the funny side of that because he came out a few years ago. I was like, oh, I had to get out of England after he did that Craig David, because everybody would come up to me and just be like, Craig David. He actually left the UK because of it.
Oh dear.
Uh,
Absolutely bullied.
So good. So funny.
Oh dear.
All right. Yeah, we'll fill Murgoot in. Basically, like late 90s, early 2000s. It was like a comedy sketch show called Bo Selector. It was played pretty much by one guy, and he would, what's the word? He would, what's it called? But they do all that funky art.
Impersonate?
Yeah, he'd impersonate celebrities, but he'd wear like masks that would cover sort of like the sort of like from the nose down, and they were like really sort of accentuated the character's features, but he would just play them so ridiculously, like he did.
The impressions basically they had nothing to do with the celebrities, or they were
No.
so distorted that
Yeah.
like the thing of Craig David has a tiny bit of Yorkshire, so he's played full Yorkshire with his little Kez, referencing another
Like little
classic
Ig.
film, and
Yeah.
then randomly he pisses himself
Do
constantly.
you remember? Do you remember his characterization of Mel B? It was like a cross between Mel B and Jim Bowen from Bullseye.
Yes.
You want to shop? Don't be mean. You want to be mean?
okay.
I do. It was extremely bizarre.
Yeah,
but,
it was so good.
Sounds very British.
And Bear in the Tree. Do you remember Bear in the Tree as well?
I'm
He did-
afraid I do. I mean,
He
you know,
interviewed
Bear in...
celebrities.
Okay, so I've been writing this thing on the politics of Black Mirror. And obviously the episode that's really central to that is the Waldo moment, where you've basically got someone doing the allergy thing as a CGI bear. But their bear does the same thing that Avid Marian's bear does. I.e. pops a lob on guests, and it's sort of... Oh, dear.
I missed the reference. Adam Loves Horror was like, oh, I meant the song Fill Me In by Craig
Yeah.
David.
That's okay. You should try it again. Just rewind.
That's it,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry. We will move on. No more Bo
I'm walking
Selector.
away.
Right. Back to this spooky stuff. Did you want to take us through the days, TCG?
Yeah, so Monday, I wrote down young woman at farm. This is her. This is Louise. Quite quickly established she's the daughter of the old lady. There is a carer in the room, the nurse. And then, yeah, you suss out that dad's dying. And Michael's there too, Michael being the brother. Michael and Louise are having a little chat, and it's established that Michael is married to a woman called Becky, and they've got children together, and he's come to the farm and left his wife and kids at home. He didn't want them to be out there, or Becky didn't want him to be out there with the kids, obviously with the dad, you know, on his last legs. Louise appears to have lost her job at the post office, so she's in no rush to go anywhere. And she's in the house. This bit here, I wrote down Louise, kitchen, door. Who was that in the background?
Absolutely brutal.
Shut door.
scare.
Shut door. With Goatman still in. She shuts the door because the door's open. It opens it on its own. I'm like, she shut the door with the Goatman still inside. And then the mum turns up, and I put down, God, this mother is freaky. Not in that way, because it turns out the silhouette. Well, they changed the silhouette to being her, and she keeps telling her kids to leave, as you mentioned, Horrorshow. And I was like, yeah, it clearly isn't because of the dad. It's got to be something else. And then the chair slides again as well. While she's later on, she's the mother is in the kitchen. She's chopping up the veggies, carrots, I believe.
That
and then the chair
spooked
slides
waifu
again.
up.
Yeah, chair slid again. And then, yeah, she obviously starts chopping her fingers. And I'm thinking to myself, and this is where you mentioned this was a shout out to the Color from Outer Space, or Color Out of Space. she's chopping the fingers, and then she chopping the carrot. Sorry, then she starts chopping her fingers up. But my God, they went above and beyond on that one.
I think it was more extreme than Color Out of Space, and
much so, yeah.
We've got to be
Color Out of Space. It's like a couple of chops in it, but in this one, she's practically removed her hand, like with the amount of like digits that are.
I'd have to look at that scene in Color Out of Space again, but my feeling is that they played it slightly differently.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So it was much more of a setup to catch you off guard in Color Out of Space, whereas this one, they were baiting you with it. You really knew it was coming, so you had this horrible sense of dread.
Yeah,
and the whole film, I think, really wants to build on dread rather than jump scares, although it gets a few of those in. So kudos to them, they differentiate it. But the fact that they made it carrots being chopped specifically feels to me like they're saying, yeah, we know Color Out of Space did this as well. We're doing it differently.
It worked.
And we've also got to...
in Color is the digits are chopped off and she wakes up and realizes that she did it.
Yeah.
This one, she chops off her fingers and keeps cutting them until they're minced.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it was very effective, very grim. I mean, director on his fourth film here, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. And it also sets you up for what's going to be a consistent theme that basically every death in this is self-inflicted.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, forgot to say as well.
Sorry. The part where Charlie, the ranch hand, is introduced.
Yes, just about to say that.
God. That's ridiculous.
It's so bad. Caricature, that's it. The word I was thinking of, caricature. It's like a caricature. But so because you're introduced to Charlie alongside Michael because they're sorting out. I think his car's broken down. Michael's car's broken down. They're changing
fixing a tire. Yeah,
that's it. So after she makes mincemeat out of her fingers, it then goes to Tuesday, where you quickly discover that the mother is missing.
Fingers happened later. The onion, watching her chop the onions on Monday.
That's in the prologue. No, that's in the prologue where she's doing the initial chopping, and then you get to Monday. Fingers get nipped off at the end of Monday, and then it goes to Tuesday where you quickly find out she's missing. And then I had a quick early theory, and I went, is the dad the bad guy in spirit form? It's like an early theory, working with that. They're searching around the farm looking for the mum, and then they find her. She's hanging around with the goats. And
that is in YouTube-friendly terminology.
Exactly,
just hanging out,
and
not in no chair or no tub under her. How the heck did she get in the rafters?
Definitely not in the Welsh sense of the saying either. So they try and get her down, and then Tuesday ends. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Tuesday is the short day. It ends.
It's very stark, and I think that was the way it cut you off there. I think did a good job of leaving you feeling a bit hollow. You didn't get resolution. You didn't get them crying and expressing. You're just hit with this cold blackness.
Exactly.
Which fits the vibe of the film. You don't have a cathartic release.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of that senselessness as well, that emotionless sort of vibe throughout the film as well. And Michael very much vocalizes that as well during it. Like when he later says to Louise that when he saw his mother, chilling out with the goats, that he felt nothing. He didn't feel anything, and that he got away. Because spoiler alert, he ends up getting out of the farm to go back to his family. He says
in the prologue, when you meet them, they were talking, and you get the feeling that they're there for their father, not their mother.
Definitely.
Talk to them.
Yeah, definitely, of course, and obviously, like mum, checking out early would have been undoubtedly a huge shock. But the point is that he left the farm to go back home because he wanted to feel something, because he was like, I feel nothing there. Like, It's like something's wrong. And he's like,
Mm.
you do well to get out yourself. Like, leave your dad, leave dad there. He's a lost cause. Get out. Just get out.
I think that really speaks to the sort of the horror underneath the horror here. Like what Bertino was trying to do is he is talking about families falling apart.
Yeah.
And like the painful idea of parents being abandoned, which is, I don't know, it feels to me like a very current issue, like a fear that is very, very current. It's going to be bigger. Like this is the new issue for us, where lots of you've had so many horrors talk about fear for what the children are going to do. That's come back over and over again. We've had waves of films about spooky kids.
Yeah.
Basically, because we're worried about, are the ether going to run wild? And I could list endless horror films like that for you. I'm sure you can think of them yourselves. But this one seems a bit out on its own, a bit ahead of the curve by sort of looking at the problem we're going to have, because we have, a lot of us, parents are getting old. There's a big concern about the way the generations are spread out. Basically, all the boomers are sort of reaching the end, and we've all been moved across the country in a way that we weren't for their generation, by and large. And I think there's that fear of, how are my parents going to be cared for?
Yeah.
I like both of these kids. They've moved out to the city. They've moved away.
Yeah.
I've rabbited on, guys. Did that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah. The prologue, though, the way they were talking, it seemed like they were pushed away by the mother. It's when was the last time you talked to him? Oh, in May.
Yeah.
They actually called me and wished me happy birthday. You get the feeling that she was kind of surprised that they actually called.
Yeah. It does. You do. It also, sort of highlights like the mum's very cold towards the kids. Like you should have got out, and all that stuff. But clearly, she was doing it to protect the kids.
Oh yeah,
it's this weird thing that parents do, right? And I'm sure you guys can relate. But parents can be very secretive when it comes to talking to their kids about issues that they may be facing. I know my parents are like that, 100%.
No, mine have done that as well.
Yeah, if something's wrong, they ain't telling you, and it's very dismissive. You don't no, okay, no, that's fine. Move on, and that's very much what the mum in this film's doing, and it is quite relatable. As a parent myself, like you want to be as open as you can and honest, I suppose, with your children. But there are some things that you just feel like they might not be ready to hear. They might not be ready. I say this very conscious because I've got my son sitting behind me.
Yeah,
but
I perfectly understand. My mom is fairly open, but my dad, rest in peace, he was stoic to the point of being a stone wall for much of my time knowing him. I mean, there are things that I asked him about which even as an adult he refused to talk about. So so
it seems like it's a consistent thing. I mean, I always thought it was something to do. Just the classic form was that when they went to serve in the world wars, they wouldn't talk about their experience. And now I think actually, that's just consistent. Parents do protect their kids.
Yeah, I can relate.
I know. My father was teaching in Berlin when the Berlin Wall went up. He got out, and he wouldn't talk about that.
Yeah, my old man served, and he doesn't talk about it. He because I tried, I've tried to talk to him about it before, and he's just like, no. It's like what you'll find, son, is people who go around talking about it. Chances are they haven't experienced that. They're either talking out their arse or, they didn't do it. But he was like, no, like he would still have nightmares about it. But it's like you need to speak to someone. Nah. It's like, okay, fair enough. Crack on then.
My
Yeah,
ex-father-in-law was like that with my ex-wife and her stepsister. He wouldn't talk about anything, and then he started opening up to me, and my ex was like, how did you get him to talk about it? Because he asked me questions about things that I'd done, and I opened up to him first, and then he opened up to me and told me his experiences
Yeah.
in Korea, Vietnam, and flying search and rescue and between New Zealand and Antarctica in his days in the Navy. And his stuff was terrifying, even though he was a navigator on search and rescue missions.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can imagine. I mean,
But it took one crack of understanding to get him to open up. I could never get my dad to open up. So,
yeah. I also notice.
Mother knows best. Yes, Adam. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it works on the two levels. I think you get the feeling first that she's, it's not a healthy relationship. They're all a bit flawed. You notice especially sort of she, and her name is Louise. The daughter is Louise. Yeah. It's really nicely underplayed, but you just are basically it's inferred her life has not gone well. She's a bit of a wreck.
But then it also speaks to how much of the if the family dynamic was poor, how much of that was down to this malevolent force.
Well,
and then like how. Oh, sorry, go on.
I was gonna reach into my Ben Shapiro reading and be like,
bring the picture
actually, actually, it doesn't sound anything like that. I don't know why I even tried. That kind of basic reading would be, well, it's the father who's non-responsive. So the father as the linchpin of the family isn't there, and therefore it all falls apart. I don't go for that reading myself. I think it's there. I think that's a bit too broad. I think it's more like the whole family is a bit weak, but you get the mum on the one level is saying, I told you all not to come because their family relationship is broken. But the other one is, she's trying to protect them. It's a fair point, Adam. Thank you for the $2. Very much appreciated.
And the next point is when they go to the coroner's office and it sets up atheist versus God when the coroner's I found these in her pocket and hands them Sunday school crosses, a bunch of them in her packet. And it's, what are these? These are Sunday school crosses. And it's, Mom didn't believe in God.
That's right.
And neither do we. And it's,
you could hear the fedoras tipping in that moment.
Oh yeah, he was almost venomous about it.
Which again is very sort of tropey in these sorts of films. Like I think of Paranormal Activity for one, where they have the where they have the priest come over or to sort of assess the haunting that's going on, and you've got despite all the evidence that's flying in their face, you still have the geezer in that film just being like, lol, whatever. Like
you got to do it. But I think we get a little clue to the director's sympathies here. I think religion is treated very respectfully here. I've got my own bias towards that. I like that. But it's also not, how can I say, it's treated respectfully, but it's also not a get out of jail free card. Very distinctly we're shown that, but we
especially with the appearance of the priest.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the priest is a big hat tip because his name is Father I can't say it. Father Thorn.
Father
right?
Thorn, yeah, that's it. I just want to rewind a bit.
Comes from
Damien Thorn.
Yeah, exactly. Taking it seriously. There you go, folks. Always cramming a reference to The Omen from 1976 wherever I can. Sorry, TCG, you want to take it back?
I want to rewind to Wednesday because we jumped to Thursday with the morgue. So on Wednesday, you've got the aftermath, right? It's a bit of a sad day. Charlie's helping out on the farm now. The nurse is there caring for the father. The nurse opens up to Louise and Michael and says that she was overhearing their mum saying things. So she would like whisper next to their dad, but not actually speak to him. It was almost like there was someone next to him that she was addressing. And apparently
she specifically says it wasn't David she was addressing.
Exactly.
It was someone or something else.
Precisely. Exactly.
That was set up nice and creepily.
It's alluded to that it was the mum's express wish and presumably the dad's as well, that they wanted to stay at home and have him die there, have him pass away there. Again, knowing how the film sort of sets up, you kind of understand, it's more of a containment than it is a wish, an expression of wish. Michael does tote the idea of taking dad to hospital now that mum's out the picture, and Louise is outright, nope, this was their wish. We honor their wish. And we go back to the room with the mannequins, and you can see that you find that the mother had like made I think it was a wedding dress for Louise, and then it was
showing she did care, but
exactly.
The fact that she had the dress, you can infer some things.
Yeah,
how did you read that?
Exactly that. Like you could tell that she cared and she wanted to. Oh man, it was so frustrating because again, it's one of those things where you know that she's being an arse to her kids because she's trying to do what's best. She's trying to give them absolutely no reason to want to come back to the farm. She'd rather be seen to be a bad mother than to put her children in a position where they could be in danger. And I suppose when they came back, she might have felt like a bit of a failure at that point. And it was very much an I told you so moment. Towards the end, I suppose.
It's also a bit of a director trademark.
You get
it was a big strength of The Strangers. At no point does Bertino give a big exposition dump ever. In fact, like the couple, Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman, they've had a row, but you don't know what it's over, and you don't need to. You just infer it. No one spells out what it is. And this kind of ultimate reveal of who's killing them and why is also treated without any kind of massive exposition dump. It's hugely underplayed because kind of like in this, as a sort of a nihilism is a problem, this sort of lack of purpose is a problem. So I think we've got a director trademark there that I find really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, what you get is you get a sense of like lost hope. There's no hope in this place. It's all very doom and gloomy, and there's nothing to be upbeat about. And this is where I wanted to sort of come to, because I think this is a really important day, because there's a bit of a farming montage.
I wanted to talk about that. The noisemaker gate on the barn to keep the goats in.
Yeah.
She didn't believe in God, but she had dream catchers and horseshoes, symbols of luck and peace, strung as noisemakers, and they kept readjusting them.
Yeah, she was very superstitious, evidently. So she obviously believed in something supernatural, but then again, like, she was living it, so that it's less of a belief and more of an actual thing going on, I suppose. I really want to talk about this bit though, because they get to the burial ground where they some of the animals are, I think it is. And Charlie would, I think he said he would take them there as kids, or he'd like to. It's like a lake area. And then I think it's Louise who says to Michael, the other way around, because I didn't write the bloody name now, but they one of them says to the other, "We should have talked to her," and I wrote down this, like, I was like, absolutely thematic because there's hardly any dialogue in this film up to that point. There's very, very little information you're being fed. It's all visual. You get a little bit of stuff happen after this, but I'll come back to that bit. They're out, but okay, actually no, I won't. So it then pans back. Louise is in the shower or getting ready to have a shower. There's a door creak. Sorry, she's in the shower. Sorry, the door creaks and you hear footsteps. Oh my god! And then the door thuds shut.
It's a full Biden moment.
It is a full-on bite. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, my words are SSSS. Dad's there, peeing himself, crazy head movements, and then she goes to the bedroom and he's still there sleeping.
Yeah.
A bit later on, Michael, and this sort of ties into the whole we should have talked to her. There's hardly any dialogue. Michael and Louise are out. I think they're outside, like talking, and he turns around to her and basically says, "Look, do you want to talk about things? Do you want to open up?" And she's basically like, "No." And I picked up on that. I was like, cycle repeating. You're not, mum wasn't opening up to the kids. Now the kids aren't opening up to each other. It's learned behavior. It's these traumas are going on and you're not speaking to each other about it. And I'm like, this fits perfectly into the theme. It's so that how those sort of like two bits, like the kids are like, we should have talked to our parents. We should have talked to them. And they're like, do you want to talk to each other? No.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention, because it ties into Charlie later on, is when they did the burial and they walked out to the lake, the cross there. Oh, I forgot Reva was buried here. And that's Charlie's daughter.
Oh, of course, yeah. How the hell did I miss that? I didn't write that down.
That didn't stick in my head either.
It didn't stick the first time I watched it. It stuck on the second time I watched it.
Oh, I wonder if that's where the Charlie would take them there, like take his child there and
that would,
they can play. Yeah, that would make sense.
I did wonder why he mentioned that. Okay. All right. There was a thing of... So there are a couple of things I wanted to get from my notes here. One of which was, I'm sorry to be puerile, but can we talk about the whittle? Just because there's a little bit of like a piss resurgence in horror, and seriously. Okay, so in my Exorcist commentary, I highlighted this. Urine is something that someone weeing themselves is something we're not used to seeing. That is kind of like a taboo in horror that we are not used to seeing. So when you see it, it's still very powerful. It's still very unsettling. It's very uncomfortable. It touches on disgust mechanisms, on illness mechanisms. Makes us really uncomfortable. And it's like, you don't see it very much, but recently we've seen it quite a lot. So obviously, infamously in The Exorcist, in the early stages of Reagan's possession, and then that is paid tribute to very directly in Smile, which was 2023, 2022. Right. And very underrated, actually. I really like that movie. Then we had It Follows 2015.
Yeah.
Had some really unsettling whittling. My brain has gone blank, but I saw another one recently where someone did that, and I thought, oh gosh, we're seeing quite a lot of it, and it remains unsettling. It remains disturbing to see that.
Yeah, they did it a lot in the 80s, but it was played for laughs rather than pure disgust.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I swear. Black Mirror as well. Remember the kid literally wet himself, and it was
give me money.
It was
lots of money. Give me lots of it. Lots of it.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
But yeah, I mean, you could argue that was a bit of a homage moment to The Exorcist, if you will.
Yeah, it could be. It was but it's definitely powerful. It's definitely using something like not super gory, but just really, remaining upsetting. The other one was I was going to ask if you thought the choice of animal that they were rearing was significant.
Goats, demonic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
between the I got vibes from the witch, especially the goats and the symbolic or the symbolism of the horseshoes and that kind of thing, because they had similar wards in the witch.
Mm.
And
I mean, I love that movie. That's interesting. You've taken that in a different direction, which I think is valid. I was just going to say there was just a line where they talked about, I thought you weren't going to have any more kids. And it was related to the goats. But I just thought when I was reading this as about a family dissolving, I thought the fact that you could talk about threats to the kids. I don't know. I felt there's a duality there, but definitely the fact that there is a sort of devil aspect. Yeah, goats become relevant for that. I just want to thank Adam Loves Horror sending in $5 and saying another theme with this director regarding why is this happening to the family or Liv Tyler / Scott Speedman in The Strangers. Because you were home, it can happen to any of us. Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, that's kind of what I was getting at early. This feeling of helplessness that you didn't actually even do anything wrong and there's not much you can do about it. And that can work against you because you say, well, my characters now don't have agency. But on the other hand, it's, well, yeah, they can't do anything. They're literally doomed. Does that increase the horror?
I think it does. Yeah, I think what Adam's mentioned there is perfectly sound. Like it makes a lot more sense thematically to try, I suppose, like widen the scope of him, like widen the sort of like the net, if you will, in terms of who could be impacted, like who could be influenced or affected by something like this, as opposed to just, you know, in order to have got into this situation, you would have had to have done something very, very, very specific, and it would, you know, if I don't like the whole Candyman thing, like, you know, the easiest way to beat Candyman is to not say his name in the mirror 5 times. But if you just happen to look in the mirror and he appears, and you don't, there's no trigger to do that, then my God, God,
yeah.
You know,
the other bit of symbology that we haven't touched on yet is the coyotes howling every night, and they seem to be getting closer every night. And coyotes are just a relative of dogs and wolves.
It's the hellhounds, baby.
Yeah,
maybe they sold their souls in Supernatural.
The wolf, as the priest said, the wolf at the door.
That is a really good catch. I want to just get one closing thought on this, but you've got something great, and I've got notes for that scene because I thought that was really well done. These actually lead into each other really well, which is kind of working with what you said there, Adam. Adam Loves Horror is Bertino has found a really good way. I would say a really effective way to work with the horror of meaninglessness. Like, instead of a grand purpose, like you are suffering because you undid the evil puzzle box, he's kind of dealing with a very materialistic universe, a disenchanted universe, and he's making it terrifying. I mean, that's the thing that was so scary about The Strangers. Yeah, brilliant. To paraphrase Billy from Scream, maybe it's scarier when there's no motive.
Funny Games as well is another good example of that, I think.
Oh, I mean, it's a year example, really, isn't it? Yeah. And there's actually the moment from The Strangers actually plays up. There's a very similar version of it in an amazing novel called The Mandibles by Lionel Shriver. I was on the Lotus Eaters talking about it, and I managed to crowbar a reference to The Strangers in for that. But
nice.
The thing of your good intentions, you know, you are answering the door, you're the one who's home, is what makes you a victim. It's borderline random, and there is deep horror in that. It's good to recognize it. So yeah, Alumnus Horror, thank you for $5. Very much appreciated. And I think it's helped. I think I can feel the score for this film going up.
Good.
I'm torn, but I think it's there's more to it. That catch about the coyotes is really good, Murgoot. I mean, shall we move on to the day when they talk with the priest, or
is that Thursday?
Well, you take us on, TCG.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Sorry
So-
for derailing.
No, that's fine. Oh yeah, the nurse also they're reading at the end of Wednesday. I'll quickly wrap this up. They find their mother's diary, and they read the last page, which reveals that something is killing David, which is taking his soul, or the nan, someone says it, which blew my theory out the water that Dad was actually the bad guy.
Yeah.
The last line being the devil, the devil, the devil.
Yeah.
The dad is really well chosen. Yes, he doesn't get to do anything.
Apart from
basically,
frightening his daughter, weird.
Yeah. Apart from that, but he's that good anchor. Nice bit of story building. Why don't they run, caring for their dad? And then they do try and bail out, and he's too far gone, so the doctor won't let them. Nice way to ground the characters, so they have a reason to not leg it. So
I mean,
appreciated that.
Stupid, but not from the perspective of like it's a writing stupid. I was just like, he's gonna die anyway. Like, just at least give it a go. I mean, Jesus Christ, what is this? The EU? Brutal
TCG, brutal.
Well, it said in the
Shipping them all
diary
off.
that it's trying to take David's soul, and it's harming everybody around him to force him to go.
Yeah, I mean, it could. I mean, it could easily be possible that even if they'd left the ranch, that it would have followed them. But
How can you be so heartless, TCG? How could you do it?
Well,
how can you do it?
Well, it's easy. I too was like Rishi Sunak, and I did not have Sky TV growing up, so I feel like I could vote for him after all. I really relate to him.
I guess for him, the sky was the limit.
Did anybody else get when he turned around and said, "Oh, I didn't have Sky TV growing up"? Did anyone else get the old Theresa May vibe energy when she was talking about like what's the most rebellious thing you've ever done? She was like, "Oh, running into wheat fields."
Yeah, he hadn't drilled that one. He hadn't been.
I'm sorry, but the Tories, man, the Tories.
I saw parts of that interview and the one with Starmer, and man, Sky News savaged both of them.
You're a robot. Why should I vote for you? My father was a tool maker. My father was a tool maker. Vote for me. Vote for me. Anyway, yes, Thursday. Michael begins questioning the situation surrounding his mother's untimely passing. He starts to ask a couple of questions, as in, how did she get up there exactly? It was a bit high for her. She wouldn't have been able to do that all by herself. They read more of the diary, which reveals that Mama was indeed hearing voices. And then we get to the morgue, Murgoot, which talks about where we find out about the crosses found on her possessions, which is strange because Mum was not a churchgoer, and those crosses get given to Louise. We find back home Louise is caring for David. As he's coughing, a spider crawls out of his mouth. I did put down terrible CGI because it weren't great.
I didn't mind it.
I didn't mind
I saw
it,
your
but-
note on that, and I thought, oh, am I soft on it?
No, here's the thing. I don't mind it, but I would have preferred like a practical effect. It doesn't have to be. Obviously, the guy doesn't have to have an actual spider in his mouth. Don't get me wrong. Like they could use they can use like a doll or whatever, right? But I would have preferred it to have been because like when she starts trying to like swat it and stuff, like she's clearly not looking at it or like going like it just doesn't. I didn't mind it, but they could have done. I feel like they could have just done that a bit differently. But it takes nothing away from the film, in my view. It's purely personal.
It's very minor,
personal
but
preference.
fair play.
You guys know how much I love my practical effects. In the kitchen, there's still blood, a little bit of blood on the sink by the plug. They wipe it off, and I'm thinking, oh crap, what's going to happen? Like, is the whole sink going to go like out of Lost Boys? But nothing happens. Louise is sitting outside. She's reading more of the diary, and that's when you hear another wolf howling. And then Louise is later on in the film. She's in bed with David. Michael is in his room. The lights turn on, but nobody's there. Michael gets up, investigates, checks out the door. Nothing there. Goes back to bed. Light comes back on. So he gets up. He turns off the light. He looks out the window, and then looks out of another window. And then who should be standing outside but their mother? I put floating, but she wasn't. She was just standing outside, but she had this like really uncanny valley smile.
She did float at one point, didn't she?
Oh no, she did float. You're right. Yeah, no, she did float.
I've got a note for that. This is where I got critical. I did not like the sound effects. They did give us a bit of the old. Yeah, they gave us the old jump scare sound effects a few times, and I thought I really liked early on where just the shadows in the background, and and you just noticed it or you didn't, and I would have preferred that, to be honest. They would have landed better for me if it had just been really unsettling rather than a sort of "Hey, be scared now" sound effect.
Yeah, I mean, in that moment when she's outside, I mean, she's quite clearly visible. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just say it was working for me at that point. You hear the mother singing outside because he's like, oh no. And then you hear her singing inside, sorry. But then like he looks out again, there's no mother. Mum's now disappeared. You know, she's done the old Michael Myers hide behind a tree routine.
Yeah.
And then I put Mama in the shadows. Oh, she's behind. But then she was gone. And then it goes to Friday.
Yeah, that's where I was quibbling. I just thought those sound effects were a bit too jump scare. So maybe Bertino wanted them in, maybe they were forced on him. But I feel like he'd made so much of it a subtler film that I would have much rather he didn't have that, so I could just be creeped out horribly. Because he definitely got me with a few things that were shot to be jump scares. So I would have liked that just to be horribly skin crawling.
I get what you're saying though about the sound effects, but I would just say personally for me, I mean, I was not paying attention to the jump scary music or anything like that. As soon as I saw the old that old eating grin across her face, I was like, oh man, no.
Yeah,
no,
I mean, when we talked,
she's getting inside the house, man. Oh my god, she's in there. Oh my god, right now.
When we talk about Hereditary vibes.
Yeah,
the mother reappearing, massive vibes. I'll try and not do any spoilers for Hereditary, but I'll simply just question, guys. Am I fellas? Am I wrong on that one? Have you seen Hereditary?
I feel like I have, but again, it's one of those films where I'm sure I've seen it, but I remember nothing of it.
I've seen clips.
Okay. Well, I'll leave it to chat whether you detect a little Hereditary influence from the mum, especially when she turns up blooming starkers. But,
the barn scene was unsettling.
Yeah, I have seen this film. But again, I remember so little of it.
Yeah. Much requested. There's 4 different people wanted to cover that.
Well, we should.
Which is why I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
I don't want to show any favoritism. I'm torn. Yeah, I know. Alas. Okay, so we finally get to Friday, don't we? You said.
Yes. So I'll get my notes back up now. Is that Tony? Was it Tony? Sorry, Hereditary. Is that what's her name?
Toni Collette.
Toni Collette. Yes, I'm sure I've seen it.
No relation to Mark.
I don't remember any of it, which is annoying. But I know I've seen it. Where are we? Friday. Where are you, Friday? Okay, so we start with Louise waking up, and this is where I'm like, oh god, we're 40 minutes into this. Like, come on, what's going on? But we're nearly at the end of the weekend now.
It's a zippy film. It's only 91 minutes.
Yeah,
they don't waste any time.
I think I mentioned it because when Michael and Louise first meet at the ranch, Michael makes the point of saying like, I'm planning to stay the week, but I might leave as early as Friday, depending on what happens. So I'm thinking like, if he's going to leave, like today's potentially the day. So like, if something's going to happen, something's going to happen, and it does. It does. Because Louise wakes up in the morning and she's got blood, and I'm thinking, oh god, she's got blood all over her face, and it turns out, oh no, it's lipstick. But the lipstick is in the bed, like under the bed sheets, right next to David. Then the phone
Biden
rings.
moment.
Big Biden moment. Get that call out. Then all of a sudden the phone rings. She picks it up. The line then disconnects as if she's called, like made an outbound call. As soon as she puts the phone down, it rings immediately again. And then this time it's the mother, and she's just like, told y'all not to come. That got me. That got me.
The messing with their reality.
Mhm.
It's got its ups and downs, but I did feel it worked here.
Yeah.
Especially messing with her idea of whether or not she had called.
That's it. Yeah,
it's a nice setup for some of the things that she's going to be doing. The fact that so much, all the damage is self-inflicted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's just that bit where when the phone rings for the first time, she picks it up, and then it's like, sorry, we could not connect you to the person you're trying to call. And I'm like, but they weren't trying to call. They were getting called. Brilliant. Then Michael sees a man, a priest. That lovely Shadrach-looking chap there.
Did you recognise the actor?
Is it the guy from Father's Head?
No, we do not have Frank Kelly here. No, it's Xander Berkley. I was waiting for my note literally says, finally, Xander Berkley.
What's he from? Because he does look familiar. I feel like...
you'll have seen him in many, many things. It doesn't lead often, but is there all over the place. But the main one will be Candyman. He was
okay.
He was the main character's Dr. Prepper.
That's right. Yes,
Candyman.
yeah. I was looking at trivia up.
Steve ends up moided in the end.
Got ya.
Moided by Helen.
And then he then reads the diary to Michael and Louise, and then he talks about seeing like coming round and spending time with the mother and telling the kids like how scared and lonely she was. And he was kind of doing that whole sort of creepy sort of priest routine sort of shtick. And the kids point out that the mum was a non-believer. And then later on, Louise heads out to the goat enclosure with Mary, and I think Mike was on the phone to his wife. Louise was checking out the cut rope. Michael's talking to his wife. That's it. He says he feels nothing there. The mum was all like he had left, even though his dad's like not actually out of the picture yet, which is I don't know, but
if I may, I took a note about that scene where they discussed and had a little bit of a clash of fedoras.
Yes,
because it's interesting. Like they are very forthright. They're atheist, and it's not presented as a positive thing. And again, I'm not having a go at anyone who doesn't believe it. That's that's all fine. It's just interesting to see that in a movie. And it feeds into me. For me, it feeds into the vibe I get that this film is talking about the fear of how dispersed families are, that
fear of disconnection from everything.
Yeah, it's like they kind of literally abandoned their father and they abandoned their heavenly father. It's all that atomization. It reinforces that they abandoned their mum. Their mum didn't have anyone. Their mum didn't have a religion. So it was emphasizing how isolated they'd made her mum. And there was this amazing line that I wrote down. It's from the priest, Father Thorne. She needed someone. I think you both know that now. She was alone. They both were. I didn't do that. So he is just really smacking them with the guilt.
Yes.
And as I say, this is going to be a source of horror for a lot of us. Like our lives have modernized. We do not tend to live in the same. We don't tend to do multi-generational households. And that fear of like now are our parents all right? And you know that's a really mature horror that I think is being tapped into here. I found it really effective, really like emotionally touching here. So this was a great line. Xander Berkley is delivering it with a really wonderful, indulgent, gravelly voice, and of course we later find out that, you know, if it seems like he was really doing a sort of emotional mental attack on them.
Oh yeah,
Then,
that's
oh boy,
another banger line there as well from Adam Loves Horror. That he said.
Here's the line. Oh, brilliant. Perfect timing. Adam Loves Horror. Yes. Sending $10. Thank you so much. And reminding us that he says, you think the wolf cares that you believe he's real, not if he finds you alone in the woods. That's from our good friend Xander playing Father Thorn. Also, if you haven't seen Xander in the booth at the end series, I haven't. Let me add that to my notes of what I have to look up. I'm doing okay for recommendations here.
Yeah.
I've got a nice little binge. I mean, heck, you recommended this and it was a winner. Oh, he looks suave in this. Hello. I'm in. Oh, it's a TV series. I'm going to give this a go. Thank you. You know, you guys don't really do well with a recommendation, so chuffed to try that. Yeah, so we got this realism. Murgoot, you already highlighted the fact that they are hearing wolf sounds every night coming closer. I think you guys might laugh at me for this, but there's this line, you think the wolf cares that you believe he's real, not if he finds you alone in the woods. This sort of hits that post-rational place that I feel a lot of us are in now. Like, you can go through full materialism and you're still left with how can I say? The materialist argument would be, even if you want to be fully rational and you don't want religion, you don't care about it, you've got to battle with the fact that you are evolved in some way to be spiritual. And I feel that's what that line is sort of touching on. Like, you might say he's not there, but you are going to feel it because you are built to feel it.
Yeah,
I'm trying not to proselytize when I make these. I'm trying to see it from a sort of like non-believing perspective, and I hope I'm phrasing that okay.
Yeah, but I mean, but to be fair though, you do hear it a lot. I mean, you get. Sorry, excuse me. I was watching Heretics podcast the other day. What was who was he interviewing? Oh, he was interviewing Lawrence Fox, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
And it was just on the background, wasn't it? But there was something that he said on there that actually sort of rings true to the point you're making, and that he was the guy hosting the podcast was like, you know, to Lawrence, are you religious? And Lawrence was like, yes, I'm a Christian, yes. And and the geezer presenting it was like, you know, I'm an atheist, but I would. You know, even though I don't believe in a God, yada yada yada, he was like, I wish I could have that sense of an afterlife. I wish I could feel that sense of. I wish I had that, you know, that spiritual feeling that there was something more out there, yada yada. And it was just like, mate, like you've got a massive void there that you ain't gonna fill with your rational thinking and your big brain skepticisms and all this stuff. But then it was Lawrence who turned around to him and said, well, it sounds like you're already halfway there. You know?
Yeah.
Which I thought was like, oh, because the fact that he's longing for it, he will eventually go out and search for it. And
you might never get that sense of deep spiritual fulfillment in the church. That's fine.
Yeah,
you've got that need for it. So like, find it.
Yeah, Lawrence said that to him. He was like, look, you know, I'm not saying that you have to become a Christian, but he was like, but you need, but as long as you find something that fills that plugs that gap, that fills that hole.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, nurtures you and, you know, makes you feel satisfied and full, then brilliant, go for it. But yeah, it's like you're halfway there if you're,
Oh,
you're really longing
definitely.
for it. And I feel like that's a lot of it. I think we've mentioned this before, but quite a few people, atheists or non-believers, are starting to go down this route now. Like I think atheism's kind of like run its course in a way, in that I feel like we're starting to see a sort of come around to it. I mean, I know I've gone through that. I was spiritual when I was younger. I did the whole Thunderfoots and the friendly atheist stuff a bit later on in life. But I think I'm starting to find, well, not starting to, but I've come back round to more of a spiritual sense, just because I never really knew. You could never really be sure. And it again comes on what you're saying about you're evolved to essentially not be religious but be spiritual. And there is a sense of something beyond that which is in front of us.
Yeah, it is a
Richard
side
Dawkins' cultural Christianity speech. We're missing something. I'm going to miss all the churches and the cathedrals when they disappear. I don't want to see them disappear. He's searching for it, but he still can't find it in himself to believe in spirituality.
Yeah, Maverick says atheism just became a religion for narcissists. Absolutely, I think it's partly what put it off me, because what I was seeing as I never for a second put myself in the camp like these people were at, like your Dillahunties or whatever his name is, or like your Dawkins and people like that. But it was just purely for the arguments and just to sort of hear what they were saying. But what I found was they weren't replacing it with they weren't replacing it with something different. They weren't replacing religion with something different. They were replacing it with just another form of religion. You see it with what became the Atheist Plus movement, with things like the feminisms and a lot of things that you see sort of going around in the day. Like we proselytize the not proselytize. Well, people worship the NHS, for Christ's sake, these days.
very true.
Whether whether you think it works or not, a lot of people will say, do you believe in the NHS? Well, I don't need to believe in it. It's there. Whether I think it works or not is irrelevant, but I don't need to believe in it because it's not something I need to have faith in. There's data. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
how I put it a couple of years ago was people like Dawkins and Dillahunty and TJ, they're evangelical atheists.
Yeah.
And you can tell which ones of them. Dawkins, I don't know about, but I know Aaron Ra, TJ, and Dillahunty all come from religious backgrounds and hate Christianity because of it, so they became atheist. And I know I set off TJ in a comment on one of his streams. It's, so you don't believe in God, but you believe in Deus Ex Nihilus.
Yeah.
God from Oblivion. And he chimped out.
Well, I think his more recent antics don't really go to his favor. I mean, I don't want to. We sort of, let's not try and derail this. I think
I
do not have to go to church. You do not have to go to church. But what I'm saying is, if you don't have that connection, if you don't find something that, I don't know, fires you up, that is a part of you that is going unfulfilled. I know
actually
that I don't want you to read like you need to go to church, but
no, of course not.
We need something to drive us, and many things will do that, and I hope everyone finds it. And
actually, to be fair, a lot of people, sorry to interrupt, but again, on the other hand, and this is because I see some people in the chat with like, don't lump us all in. We're not all the same. Atheism, as I say, like I went down that route, and I went, I wouldn't consider myself to be one of those like us. Like I wouldn't, if I saw someone who was like praying in this. Like, when I went to Poland with my wife at the time, I was, I wasn't a believer, but I thought it was amazing seeing so many young people coming out of a church during when Saint Paul was being ordained the Pope was being ordained as a saint at the time. Like, I wasn't believing at that point, but the fact that it had value for so many people was actually quite a wonderful thing to see. And an atheist might not, as Joe quite rightly says, you know, he's an atheist, he doesn't have a hole. Oh, he's godless and he doesn't have a hole. If you don't, you don't. People like Ricky Gervais, for example, you know, he sees beauty in like the world around him, like, and he enjoys the time that he's got. He's not a believer, but he finds that he's got that fulfillment with, like, he's almost like naturist, you know, in that regard. Yeah, I mean, there's you're absolutely right. There's so many different ways that you can sort of plug that hole without having to go to church, without having to go to a mosque or a synagogue, or, you know, pray, you know, meditating for years until your body turns, you know, into a mummy. There's yeah, but yeah,
it's
I'm
all good.
rambling now.
And
I'm rambling.
and the more trivial output of that, just the trivial side that I also want to get in, because it's one of my favorite talking points, is don't limit yourself to rationalism, as in to have something you have to be able to rationally justify it, with a study, with a policy. Sometimes you can just go like, no, gut feeling, don't like it, don't want it. Oof. There we go. Simple as. Don't feel just because you don't have a study, you can't say, nah, don't want it. Anyway.
Don't be destiny. Don't be destiny.
Exactly. Never be destiny. But do thank the NREAB, who has sent £5 and has picked up on something, which
yes, you do. Yep.
absolutely slipped by me. So fantastic catch there, the NREAB. And he sent the screenshot as well. We're getting an almost Passion of the Christ style demon. I mean, actually, not even that. This is a very original looking. Gosh, I mean, maybe demon. I feel like. Yeah, I'll drop the super chat so we can see it more. But yeah,
I did see it. Enriab. My quote in that prologue bit was, "What the is with the goats?" It was.
Oh, you caught it.
I caught it. Yeah.
You caught it. Nice. Yeah. There we go. It's nicely slipped in. Well done. Actually, a lot of the times where they could have really done a big delivery scare, they, for all my complaints about the music, they did underplay it a fair bit in many scenes, and I'm going to say this is one of them. And the ending one. Yeah, thank you very much, Henry. I've much appreciated, and thanks for the screenshot. That would have been a bit. Well, I can't get screenshots because of Shudder at the moment, but yeah, thank you very much.
I want to carry on actually, because with the ringing of the phone, when it rings again, she picks the phone up and just slams it down, doesn't even bother trying to speak, and then tears the line out. It turns out that person calling was Charlie. It was a legit call, and there was someone outside of his trailer. He loads up his shotgun. And all of a sudden, you find a demon woman, Whammon, I said, stabbing herself.
That's his daughter.
It is, yeah. I put down it looks like Louise, so I missed that. So yeah, I'm glad you picked that up. And then I just put Charlie. No, he Kurt Cobained himself.
She had really weird movements as well that I thought really worked. It was well delivered for just being uncanny and eerie and.
Was that filmed back or edited backwards?
I did wonder. It kind of had an almost stop motion quality to me. Like maybe they did. There's an effect called, what's it called? Posterizer that you can do in Premiere Pro, where you mess with the frame rates on things.
Okay.
So it might have been posterized.
You cut the frame rate from 32 frames to 8 and go from there.
Yeah, exactly. Suddenly make the movements look jerky, kind of like a stop motion. People are leaning towards frame rates. So yeah, possibly I think it was posterized because that's a fairly easy thing to do. But the horror of the shotgun being useless. I mean, this is almost like a replay of The Strangers, where the shotgun was once again useless, just to almost get the idea of using a gun out the way. But the horror of her just sort of saying something to him that made him want to calling Courtney Love.
Hello.
That was really unfair. I apologize.
Friday ends at that point, and then we move on to Saturday.
It was an effective scene. I don't feel we knew Charlie, but the scare was delivered well.
We didn't see a lot of him. But I liked him. I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to kind of be like that Vinnie Jones type character from bloody hell, The Gentleman. If you haven't seen it, I love it. You don't see a lot of Vinnie Jones in that film, in that series, but when you do, like, he matters. He makes a difference. And I thought Charlie was going to be like that.
Really fun series.
Yeah, it was so it's a shame he checked out when he did. We go to Saturday. Charlie hasn't been found yet, and Louise has now decided that perhaps they should take the dad to the hospital. And Michael arranges to go and get the doctor to the home. Louise then calls the priest, who has absolutely no knowledge of meeting her yesterday. In fact, the number that she gave was a number that she was given was a number for a hotel. It turns out that the priest had never been to Texas. He actually had I think he lived in. Where did he live? Where did they say he lived?
Chicago.
That's it. Thank you. And it actually turns out that this specific priest turned out to have a daughter named Louise, who actually ended herself as well. And he even goes on to say, "You sound just like her." And then he's like,
I found that really intriguing.
Yeah, and then I wrote down the note, reincarnation?
I almost wonder if, like, the demon is basically in charge of perceptions. I almost wonder if it just made him hear the daughter. Like, this is...
Yeah, maybe.
Just absolute evil. Yeah, very original.
Yeah, especially because he seemingly has no connection to the family now, we've established. Like, what is the connection? Unless this demon terrorized the daughter.
That's what I took from it.
Yeah, and then moved on to this family.
Yeah, just sort of taking out families once at a time.
And maybe
but then it's left him.
Yeah, but then maybe Louise herself is the curse.
I don't know. I think it was just an interesting thread that was left there. But
yeah, I have a theory. So demon carries out its task, does what it needs, but as soon as Louise is ended, Louise is essentially reincarnated into another family, and the cycle repeats. And that might explain why the priest was left alone. Maybe he wasn't there for his daughter when she died.
It would be a consistent theme, but
I think
I'm not sure.
It's more. But then again, it's not really. It's not exactly something that's explicitly mentioned. So you have to get a lot of.
It's a bit more minimalist,
which I really like.
Bertino does not do a huge exposition dump. He just he gives you a few threads.
Yeah. And then it's up to you to make the rest of it. Doctor turns up and he's like, he's probably not going to make it to the hospital. It's a bit too late for him, which is really frustrating. I was just like, for God's sake. For God's sake. Why? Why? Then the nurse and Michael have a bit of a chat. And the nurse is like, it's you can sense the fear in this place. And, everyone's scared. And she confirms that she herself is a believer. And then I wrote down in my comments, I was like, oh, please, God, don't let this be a love conquers all story. And then,
your prayers were answered, DCG.
Hallelujah.
Love conquers absolutely nothing.
Atheism debunked. I pray to God and he answered. Boom. Then you get a shot of a 3-legged goat running towards the farm with its poor little leg ripped off. And I was like, poor little mite.
Very memorable imagery.
Yeah.
And quite upsetting, I found. So good job.
Michael sees it, yeets it. And I was like, oh, crap. All the goats got. And then, they were definitely convinced it wasn't wolves that had done the job. And then I just wrote down, kids, am I right?
Terrible. With the
jokes.
We do get, before this, I can't remember exactly when, but there is extended shots of the goats going off, walking off as like a flock. And, there's plenty of biblical passages about the flock. I won't go into those, but just for a general bit of imagery about being led astray. If we're talking about a family dissolution, then that is, the flock dissolving, basically. But the second I saw them going off, I got doom feels.
Yeah, the doom feels. They didn't use it, but my thinking at that point on the first watch was, is the director using the scapegoat myth? And then when they all get slaughtered, is that going to relieve the pressure? And no, it certainly did not.
Amped it up, didn't it? We do find out, though, there are 5 goats that are still found. One which is actually carrying, it's like a mother and babies, essentially, kids.
Yeah, kids.
Michael then opts to stay with the goats to make sure they stay safe, while Louise is told to stay with Dad.
Sorry to cut you off there, but
Do it.
1 goat, 5 kids.
Yeah.
At that point, the dad is still alive, and then there's 2 kids, a wife, and 2 grandkids. So, is it a random number? Am I reaching? Is this a huge reach? I don't know.
Okay, I see where you're going with it.
The flock.
Yeah.
There's 5 surviving in the family. There's 5 surviving in the flock. Oh my gosh, guys! Oh my gosh!
Well
I
done.
don't know. I could be reaching.
Michael cares for the kid and speaks to it gently, and then he goes home to see his kids.
Yeah.
True. He is more focused on the kids. Yeah. But then there is the horrible thing that happens while he's looking after these goats.
We will get to that. I promise. We'll get to that. There's still a bit more in the notes. Louise is reading a diary in bed, and I just wrote, "F me, Mama had terrible handwriting." Michael's helping the goats. Wife calls. Then you get the goat bells ringing, and it's like, oh my god, it's the mum, and I'm like, oh my god, is she naked? Thankfully she's not, but she like zooms up to Michael and is like in his face, and then all of a sudden gone. And then out of nowhere, she then turns up behind, and then Michael nearly gets his own throat cut because she starts like whispering or talking to him or singing, and he's like starts to like do the deed. But and then I realised, so the demon's working on suggestion. Louise then see Michael walk past, so he didn't do it. But you can see when he's sitting in the bed, like he's holding the knife and he's still thinking about it. Then you pan to Louise. Then you transition to Louise and David. Now David being the dad. The bedroom door creaks open, and a shadowy hand reaches in, and it seems very focused on David. And there's a lot of growling, and there's a very sort of up close shot to Louise, so you're not seeing what's going on around. Obviously, she's turned away, and she's got her eyes shut, and we can really only see Louise's face as something's going on to David, and something's doing something to David. And then when she turns around, David's gone. He's not on the bed anymore. And it's like, well, where's he gone? Then she looks up, and he's up on the ceiling. Oh, okay. And then he, perhaps David's only line in the movie is run away. So essentially telling his child to do the exact same message that the mother was doing. Don't want you here. Get out. Go away. Run away. But then she wakes up. Was it a dream? Was it? Is it? Maybe? Could it?
I wasn't sold on this bit. I'll be honest. How about you, Murgoot? You sold on this?
I actually liked it.
Okay. I'll be a loner. That's fine.
I didn't mind it. I thought it worked. Yeah. So then it pans, and then it goes to Sunday. So we're in Sunday now, the last day. You can see the scratch on David's neck from the knife. David, I beg your pardon. There was a scratch on the father's neck, presumably from the goat demon vampire thing. Louise is now searching for Michael, but she can't find him. then there's a knock on the door. It's a girl there. It's Charlie's granddaughter. And Charlie, this little girl came to tell Louise the sad news that Charlie had been found. Louise asks the granddaughter to come inside, which I was like, don't do that. Don't do that. Something's not right. Don't do that.
I want to picture, like, in contrast to the last scene, this worked so well because I kind of felt I had the sense of the rules by now.
Yeah.
Oh, contrast. Just as I'm saying that, Dr. Prepper says, "Yeah, I didn't like that scene at all."
Okay.
Oh man, we're totally reversed on this one.
Well, I tell you what,
I loved it.
when I was saying this is a really bad idea, especially because now Dad's coughing in the background, and when Dad's coughing in the background, that's normally a bad sign. That's like the screen going fuzzy in Late Night with the Devil. You're getting a signal there, and I'm like, something's not right. Don't let her in here because she's going to get hurt. And then it's like, dun dun dun. Wait a minute, the granddaughter ain't the granddaughter. Like, what the hell? And then I said he's rotting. I'm assuming that's David, demon doing demon things. I then wrote, and then where the frick is Michael? Nurse turns up. The landline gets plugged back in because she's trying to phone Michael now. Turns out Michael's okay. He just ended up driving all night, but you could tell something wasn't right with him.
I thought this was a fake out.
Okay.
I was convinced that Michael was actually still in the shed with the goats, and this was meant to torment her.
Okay. Actually, I want to go back because you said that the scene with the granddaughter worked. I want to know why.
Oh, so I felt I'd got the sense of how the creature works. I guess I'll call it a demon. Ever since the scene with the priest outside, where he's like, come outside, come outside.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. I forgot about that bit.
I got the feeling that the demon is generally, it impersonates people. It can do its voice. And it'll try and get you outside, but it'll approach you from outside first. I just got the tension over the granddaughter. Along with her saying, like, you haven't seen me since I was little, like, once again, like, jabbing a knife in the wound of you abandoned your family. Really nicely done. I had the tension. I thought, I think I know what's going on here, and I'm enjoying the tension of it. And then when she turns on the dime and just sort of comes in and drops the line about, do you smell him? It's like, oh, good. I was correct. So it's more just like when you get the sense of how the demon works, you can feel the tension. So that's what I really liked about it. Very well delivered. In terms of what the rules are, I feel the demon probably can do anything, to be honest. It can make people see whatever they want, which has strengths and weaknesses, but the way it tends to work and how it likes to mess with people, that's what I got a sense of.
Yeah. It's a metaphor for figuratively and literally letting the demon in.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, as Ian Riabba says, it needs to be invited inside or needs to come outside. So presumably, it had already been invited by the parents, and now it was relying on them. But very nicely done.
It's a bit weird because I got that that vibe, but there are bits in the film where it's already inside, and this is after the mother's passed. So I didn't know whether. Oh, though, mind you, because they did let the priest in, but again, that was after. I'll go with it. But as I mentioned, the nurse turns up, and she starts to get to work on seeing to David, and then she starts smiling, and I was like, oh my God, she's a demon. And then I realized, no, wait, she's actually being possessed. And then she gets the knitting needles, and then she pokes herself in the eye with one of them. You've been framed moment. And
very effective, I'm going to say. I thought it was coming. I was set up to see it, and I still winced. So good job, well delivered.
And then I was like, nurse done did it now. And then ouch, not the eye. Not the other one I then wrote, because she did. And then, yeah, we get to Michael. And
Well, no, she knocks Louise out and then pitches over
Yes.
dead herself.
Sorry, beg your pardon. Yes, that's right. Yeah. She presumably dies from blood loss.
I'll
But
see
yeah,
if
you're
I can
right.
get a photo of it.
She does knock herself. She does knock out Louise. But then the notes goes to Michael. He is driving, as you know, but he's going home. He goes inside, calls out to Becky, his wife, and kids, and then he goes in the kitchen and he sees his two little girls slouched over the breakfast table, and then
His wife on the floor with the knife.
Yeah, and that sends him over the edge. He then takes out the pocket knife that he had taken with him. And
I don't know if we'd emphasize, like, the demon he'd fought off 2 attempts to self-delete that the demon had pushed on him. He'd fought them twice.
Yep, and he won. And then it was once he'd taken his own once he's seeing his lifeless family there. That's it. Nothing else to live for. All hope is lost. Which is when, and that's really interesting actually, because I think he managed to fight off them, the demon, in the first 2 times, because he had something to fight for, his family.
Totally.
Then when he saw they were gone, because that's what it does, it feeds on hope, and once that hope's gone, that's when it can go in for the kill. All hope gone. Michael decides, I'll catch the next bus and see you there. And he does the deed, and as he's lying there, he looks back up at the table with his family for one last time, and there's nobody there. And I wrote down,
family runs into the house.
Yeah, I wrote, oh, fake out, because I was like, oh mate, that's too much, because I don't really like seeing that sort of stuff when it comes to kids. Like, I get it, it happens in horror films, but it was I don't personally like it. It makes me uncomfortable. Again, that's why I won't watch funny games again. But I was like, that was good, somewhat foreseeable, but definitely got me. I was like, I should have seen it coming. I should have seen it coming.
It really is showing, like, this film is not going to pull punches. The double fake out, all in keeping with how we know this demon works. And gosh darn it was a gut punch.
But just as his lights turn out, the front door opens, and it is his family, his daughters and wife, come into the house, and one of the girls find him like laying there lifeless on the floor, and then the mum comes along and sees it as well. Big scream, and then we go back to Louise, where the phone's ringing.
Yeah,
she's laying on the floor and the phone rings.
That's it.
I should say, like, Brian, was it Michael's wife? I don't think was Lindsay Lohan, but gosh darn, she looked like Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, I know, right? She probably.
Why can't I get a screen cap? I can't.
Because Shudder's gay.
Yeah, Shudder is not letting me get a screen cap. But you watch this film, the wife looks just like Lindsay Lohan. Yeah. Very weird. Very weird.
We get back to Louise now. I think my notes get a bit sporadic here. Ring, ring. Bye, Dad. Louise is going now. Whee! Down the stairs. I can't remember what that's about. Dad's coughing again. Louise went back. Michael now is calling to Louise. We know it ain't him, though. She's clocked. And then she does her Wolf of Wall Street. She's not fucking leaving moment. Dad dies. And then Mum is singing. Dad woke up. He got Louise. And then my notes end there because I think I just got... film ends, basically. Yeah. Decipher that.
You get the very, very briefest glimpse of something at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all doomed, really. We know she is absolutely doomed, but I do have that final frame, I think.
Because it is David.
This looks AI.
No,
that's not the final frame. Here we go. I've got it. We did say we're spoiling the entire thing. I think It's our same lad from the goat field.
Yeah.
I think we get this briefest one frame and you miss it image of the demon again.
Yeah,
I missed that.
Yeah, I thought it was David. But
it is so quick.
It's so quick, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's just it's just a hopeless scene. It's just there's no way out of it. She she wasn't going to leave her dad, and I think she knew what the consequence. She knew the consequence of that, and it was almost like she's accepted her fate. Like
it felt like that. Like she had got her purpose again.
Yeah,
and she was maybe going to get salvation by going to him.
Yeah, because she was like, it was quite powerful actually in a way. Because when she was there, she was like, "I'm not leaving you, Dad." She's whispering, "I'm not leaving you." And then, obviously, he starts to, draw his last breaths. And then she's turning around to him saying, "Don't leave me, Dad. Don't leave me. Don't leave me." And then he leaves her. Can't really help it. Bless him. And then, again, all hope gone. She's on her own. No one there to protect her. No one there to keep her safe. Nothing that she can do to keep herself safe. Boom.
It is one of the bleakest things out there, in there with up there with like The Vanishing, the old Belgian one, or Martyrs, or even Funny Games. But she did in the end make peace. I will take that as a win.
Yeah, I'm Hannibal in the chat. Hello, by the way. I was very disappointed that her bravery was not wasn't rewarded. We kind of we do want to see our protagonists make it through the other end, but I think this works really because you're left with the same feeling that the characters would have felt throughout the film, which is that dire hopelessness. Like you're watching it back and you're like, oh, there was nothing they could have done. Oh. Nothing they could have done differently, and you see it even if they'd left the farm, because it was Dr. Prepper who said that you take that demonic presence with you after you leave, because you see that with Michael. So evidently, had they left and gone to the hospital, it wouldn't have made a difference. Michael still would have been, sorry, not Michael, David, the dad still would have been under, he would have still been on the radar, and so would the family. Like there was literally nothing they could do. Hopeless.
I think it also works as a depiction. If we're going for the reading about this is the fear of family dissolution, then the idea is you do take it everywhere because we're all informed by our upbringings.
Yeah.
Oh
my God, 70 Subi is anything but a comedy.
I think 72 is talking. There's a little side discussion in the chat about a film called The House That Jack Built.
Right. Okay.
Which, guys, is that Lars von Trier? Did he do it? But it's, what's his name? No, I'm forgetting the actor. Matt Dillon?
Matt Damon.
Not that one. I think a famously brutal, bleak, extremely cruel film. I heard something that it's got some animal stuff in there, and that's why I haven't gone near it. So sorry, but trust Dr. Prepper. He's seen it. So
Matt Dillon and Bruno Gans for House That Jack Built.
Oof, yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I've got limits. I can't see animal stuff. I'm terrible at it. I've wanted to talk about Cannibal Holocaust forever, but I can't rewatch it. Call me a wuss. Call me a wuss on that one. Unless I can find one of the original 2001 BBFC approval prints where they had to cut basically all of that stuff out. Sorry. Okay. Well, that does bring us to the end of the film, folks. I think we pretty darn thorough in what we found. We found some depths in this. The Twitter account for this film actually followed me.
Oh, really?
just while we were doing it, it's like when I said I wasn't undecided on it, they came in and they just said, like, was it come outside if you're still undecided.
Oh, I love it.
Whoever's doing their Twitter account, well done, good job.
Well done indeed. Yeah, hell yeah.
I think we've all, with a conversation with you guys, especially the other details you picked up and the hidden demon that the NREAB found, I think I've ended up my score's moved up as we've gone.
Excellent.
I was kind of voting it down a little bit because I didn't like the sound effects, and I thought maybe some of it's lacking originality. But to be honest, rethinking it, this matches how the director tends to do things. And we said so many times in horror, you can't really own a scare. You know, it's, or what? Someone got chased in the woods and stabbed. Sorry, that's owned by film from 1940. You can never do it again. It's like, we often work with very basic ingredients in horror, and it's all about how you use them. So in this case, it put the ingredients together in a very good way and understated things. Really good actor performances. So I'm talking myself up, but did you have anything more you wanted to say, Murgoot, on this one?
The symbolism was subtle, but it was there, and sometimes it threw me off track, but I think it was designed to do that. So,
I mean, definitely, you are made to mistrust what you see throughout, and I think to strong effect. We have had an interesting idea here from the NREAB, saying perhaps we have actually got a happy ending. Everyone we see does sort of off themselves, but we never see Louise die. So the others are tricked into committing self-deletion by the devil, allowing the devil to take the soul to heaven. But if Louise is just offed by the devil, then she will go to heaven. And I suppose with that, we have to ask also the fate of the nurse. Like, the nurse died, but she was made to self-delete. I'd hoped her soul was still safe. Because it wasn't that she was tricked into it. She was just, like, physically controlled, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, I think, do you know what? I would argue that they're probably fine. Maybe the only person perhaps would be Michael. Yeah, he was definitely tricked into it, but he did it of his own accord in that regard. Although, mind you, I suppose you could say he had been corrupted because of the actual attempts by the devil to make them do it themselves.
Yeah. The others we saw self-delete. Basically, we saw a really great scare of the ghost basically whispering straight into their ear and convincing them. Sorry, the demon whispering into their ear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like to think that the nurse and Louise have escaped it, not just because Louise looks like Luna Lovegood, but, What, no one else is seeing that?
I don't know who that is.
What? The Harry Potter one?
I don't watch Harry Potter. That's not true. I've seen Harry Potter films. Not all of them.
All right, I'll pass on that. I'll niche reference. God, how come a Bo Selector reference goes down like fire, but Harry Potter reference dead in the dirt?
Look, right. I've got unique tastes. Okay, I'm just
Pink Ranger. All right. Yeah. Oh, Adam Lazara sending $2. Thanks for showing this. And yes, guys, we didn't even say this. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Absolutely chuffed to do this. Yeah, member request was from Adam, and it was a good one. It's a good one. I mean, if we're grading on a curve here, Adam, remember that Mr. GB made us review Plan 9 from Outer Space, the mischievous little sod that he is. No, I really enjoyed this, and you know what it does? It prompts me. I've got to make better use of my Shudder membership. I am happy to give them the money, but I've got to go in there because this was a little bit of treasure. I've highlighted a few from the 90s I want to see, and I don't know. I feel if I get some nice free evenings, if that ever happens, I might just go a little wild on some of their originals and give them a chance because this was a winner. Yeah, thanks again for $2. Very much appreciated. Well, shall we move on to closing thoughts and scores?
I think we should.
TCG, would you like to lead?
Yeah, a really good recommendation, Adam. Great shout out. Yeah, brilliant. I really liked it. It's quite different in respect to like some of the other films that you get where you do sort of get a definitively, positive ending. Protagonist, saves the day or survives the ordeal and destroys the badness. And this film is just the complete absence of that. And it is quite refreshing in a way to get films like that where you don't actually get a satisfactory resolution where the bad guy wins. But yeah, I think this film, man, it doesn't tell you a lot, but it shows you quite a bit, but without also showing. Like there's a real lack of, there's a lack of dialogue in the film, but it works. There's a lack of, background story, but it works. It adds to the mystery. Like where it takes away from things, it adds in other areas. And yeah, I just thought it was a good story. I thought it Monday to Friday got there quite quickly, but I didn't have a problem with that in the end because Saturday and Sunday were quite harsh days.
Just a bit.
Yeah, the practical effects in the film I thought were quite cool. I wasn't digging the CGI spider, as I said earlier, but obviously it doesn't ruin an entire film for me. But I just think because I love my practical effects, man, could have done it differently. Might have even saved some money in the process. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it to someone who wants to watch a good horror film, modern one. Yeah, I'm going to give it like 10, man. 10 burgers easily. Yeah, it was great. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Nice, solid. I can't remember. Have you seen The Strangers? Do you remember The Strangers?
I've seen it, but it's a film that I haven't watched in a long time.
Might be worth going back to, I think, on the basis of this.
Yeah.
I'm certainly thinking about it. Home invasion arc could happen. No, 10 burgers, very solid. Murgoot, how about yourself? We're seeing 11s, we're seeing 11 burgers and 9 burgers here.
Yeah, the bleak and unrelenting, it's a slow burn that is satisfying. You have to piece together the mysteries from small clues. TCG was right about the dialogue. I thought the dialogue, although minimal, everything that they said mattered to the film, which is something you don't often see. And I'm giving it 9 burgers just because it was so bleak and unrelenting. I don't tend to. This one was very good, but just left me feeling cold in the end.
Yeah, that's fair enough. We do vote on vibes. We do score by how you feel, and if it's just that was too bleak. No, fair enough. All right. As for me, yeah, absolutely bleak. But I'm kind of okay with that. I think on examination, this was looking at some unusual areas, even if it was using a lot of horror tricks we know very well. It was touching on some interesting stuff, and I think some very contemporary sources of horror which aren't explored very well. And that's really got me thinking quite a lot. Where it did the scares, they landed effectively. Mix of the hard-hitting gore and just some nice background spookage that I thought worked really well. And finding out there were extra hidden details here, like I'm annoyed I didn't catch the coyote thing. That was such a good catch. And also absolute treat to see Xander Berkley. I mean, just all the performances I thought were strong. Everyone looked kind of regular. No one looked like actors. That was nice. Helped land it, helped ground it. And it did not outstay its welcome. It's a taut 91 minutes with some rough stuff in it. Yeah, really nice find, and I'm now very tempted to go back to The Strangers and sort of dig around the rest of this guy's output. Yeah, very good recommendation. Thank you so much, Adam. So I just wouldn't have found this the other way, so chuffed. See, members helping us out. All right. Oh, and a late super chat from Patrick Batman. Thank you ever so much, sending in £5 and saying, "Oh, obscure one for you, Mr. Frost, 1990, Jeff Goldblum as a serial killer in an asylum that says he is a devil."
I will second Mr. Frost. Disturbing as all get out.
Interesting. I think of Jeff Goldblum horrors, I go straight to like The Fly or Hideaway with that have Alicia Silverstone as his daughter. Some slightly off effects, maybe. No, I've never heard of that. That's a winner. Right, Mr. Frost, 1990. I will check that out. You know what, Patrick, you are a very regular super chatter. I think we will probably. I've got next week sorted, but I will happily put that in for the week after if you want. If that checks out, I'll give it a watch and then confirm. But happy to try that. We like an obscure one. We like to go off the beaten track here. All right. Well, with that said, I'm seeing sort of generally high scores here, lots of 9s and 11 from Adam. I think Dollface not as chuffed with it, but still a 7.5, so it looks like it's in the recommendation zone. We like to see that. Right, lovely. So we've had our review, we've had our thoughts and scores, and well, you already know the horror homework, but I'll repeat it for everyone. I'm trying to say it at the start now. Horror homework for next week is The Mask of the Red Death with Vincent Price. We're getting back to a bit of Price history. That one was requested, and as it has an absolutely gorgeous, I think it's a 2K restoration from 2018. I am really happy to do that. So we're going to be back to Vincent Price, doing a bit of a late Corman tribute, and that should be a hoot. And then next week I will confirm. So thank you ever so much. I'll probably release the Drag Me to Hell commentary this weekend as well. So members have had 2 weeks to enjoy it, and I'll release it for you to enjoy more widely. I'm massively enjoying doing the commentaries, folks. So I'll try and get another one in the go. But as you can possibly imagine with Little Horror Show, time is not super abundant. But I will get them done when I can. So thank you again, panel. This was a good one.
Yeah, really good film. Really good film.
Absolute delight. Yeah. And chat has been a laugh. We managed to do it without Carl posting. Yeah, we did thirst post. You know, there was excessive booba all over the stream, but it stopped Carl turning up.
Yeah. We know. We figured out our defense against him now.
All right, folks, I've really enjoyed this one. I hope you have a great Friday ahead of you, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend following that. Get your watch in of The Mask of the Red Death, and I will see you next week. Thank you ever so much. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.
Craig David, get out, Akes.